Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Mount Union Area Board of Directors to order. Please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of directors, D.
Mrs. McClure,
Here.
Mr. Weitzel,
Here.
Mr. Gerhart,
Present.
Mr. Hoover,
Here.
Mr. Kreitzer,
Here.
Mrs. Jackson. Here. Mr. Martinez. Mrs. Myers. Here. Mrs. Shields. Here.
Moving on, could I have a motion for the approval of the minutes for the April 15th, 2024 meeting as presented?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mount Union Area Board of Education held an executive session for negotiations on April 30th, 2024, and prior to the start of this evening's meeting for personnel matters. Members of the Safety Committee participated in the required annual training on Thursday, May the 9th, 2024. There were no board committee meetings held during the month of May. Do I hear a motion to accept the treasurer's report for the month of April 2024 as presented? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I hear a motion for the approval of the bills for payment for May 2024 for the general fund, cafeteria fund, trust fund, and activities fund? There were no capital reserve fund bills.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anyone have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Could I hear a motion for the approval of the district office petty cash report for May 24 and the nurse's report for April 2024 is presented?
Aye. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Moving forward, we have several presentations for this evening. Our future business leaders are here to present. I'll turn it over to Their advisor, Vicky Cooper.
I'm going to turn it over to the students to represent.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Sechrist, and I'm your Mount Union Area High School FBLA chapter affiliate. I'd like to begin by providing you with a brief summary of what FBLA is. We're involved a lot in our local chapter, and especially with competitive events such as the Regional Leadership Conference, State Leadership Conference, and even nationally, even this conference this summer. But this school year, we particularly tried to improve the experience in our local chapter by implementing new ideas such as an end of year banquet, a quiz bowl, and other fun activities for our members.
One of the things we do is a state leadership workshop. This year, we went to Calipari, which was the first year in a while. And what we did there were educational workshops where we learned different things such as entrepreneurship and even like how to schedule an interview, what to say at an interview, and anything business kind of thing. They also had something called Special Olympics they were promoting this year, which is basically giving the chance for everyone to sport. We participated in that as we have bocce ball at our school, and we have the state projects. The next thing is our regional leadership conference. This year's location was at South Keel School of Business and Technology, where we hold our competitive events for the year, which then would go forward to our state. At the competitive events this year, we did have like a speaker who talked about the college and about different business aspects of it. And we had the award ceremony there, which would then discover who went on to state. Our school actually had the highest number of participants because we had so many members who wanted to go out and wanted to do stuff with FBLA. The next step going forward, as I said, is the state leadership conference, which was held at Hershey Lodge, which we repeat the competitive event that we did at regionals if we do make it to state. We have impactful keynote speakers, which are basically people that come in and then give a lesson about how to do different business related things or like school related things or just self-confidence. It's very educational for us. And our advisor holds us very accountable for it. She makes us do these little packets that require us to go to a certain number of these speeches, which is very helpful because it holds everyone to that accountability. This year, we actually had 6 members that got to the top 10, which I think is a big credit to our advisor because she held us accountable to go practice our different events that we were doing.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Jake Cooper, the Vice President of Mount Union FBLA chapter. And next, what we're going to get into is some of the community service we have done this year. We've done such things to help raise money, such as the Going Gold event for Mount Union Community Soccer, which was basically helping the medical funds for anyone in need. We also did the Lincoln Caverns, Ghosts and Goblins, where we went out in the woods and scared some people. That was very, very fun. A lot of people like that one. We also did some of the Christmas caroling at the Shirley Home. Now, that wasn't necessarily something we did as a chapter, but it was somewhere some of our members were involved in, so that was nice to do. We also did that winter wrestling tournament for who needed volunteers. So yeah. We also did some more community service, such as the Salvation Army bell ringing. We got to do that at least a couple of times, I believe, 2 or 3. And we had so many kids that were willing to help out with that, and it was very, very enjoyable. We also did the candy game grams for the Bob Perks Foundation, which, if you don't know, that's the foundation that helps raise money for cancer patients. And so we collected that money and sent it towards that. And we also did the food drive where we got at least 3,000 items. And we also got about $100 in donations from different kinds of people, so there's that. And the last little bit of community service I believe we have is the Huntington Humane Society. Now, for our chapter, we do teams. Each officer has like their own little team of members. And my team decided to help out with the Humane Society up in Huntington. And it wasn't even just my team. We had another nice officer who came and helped out, so that was very nice. We've also worked with FFA on the blanket project, camp, and the rail museum. So, yeah. And we also had, since January, we had 450 plus hours of community service. And that wasn't even just including all of our members. It's usually around the range out of the 55, probably 20, 25-ish. So, yeah.
So as Jake said, community service is something that is a huge part of our chapter, whether you realize it or not. Your students are doing hundreds and hundreds of hours a month of community service. And these are just a few things that we continue to do. So pop tabs, all of those go towards the Ronald McDonald houses. And that was a project that was originally started last year by Kelly and Shelley Bliss, which were former FBLA members. We also we got little, bottle tabs and plastic bags and jeans, and the lunch ladies took those and they donated them to where they were needed. We also, the past few months, me and another officer have went to the community library and we have done a story hour there. One of the big things that we're working towards next year is a huge community service project, which is titled Kids for Kids. So each chapter can submit a community service project that has to have a main theme. So ours is all of our kids, teenagers helping the younger kids. And our main theme is books. So reading is something that me and this other girl, we love. So we think it's a very valuable thing that every child should have the opportunity to go to these programs, and we're very excited about that. Our National Leadership Conference is something that we've had the honor to participate in the past 2 years. And we've had a student on stage at least once in the past 2 years. And again, this year we have 5 members who are able to compete. And that's a huge deal. Not many students get this opportunity, so we're very grateful and proud of our members who were able to go. And so this year we're going to Orlando, Florida. And I know when you think of Orlando, you think of Disney, and that's not necessarily the most educational thing, but we will learn so much there. We'll meet from kids all over the nation that are just like your average kids here. We get to network with them. We'll meet with so many different colleges and learn how to network and different things like Jenna said for interviews, networking, setting up simple things such as your applications. I mean, it's such an amazing experience that we're all very grateful to go to. Even the ones that aren't competing, which is myself, will have this opportunity to go and watch these other kids compete. So I'll be able to hopefully, watch community service events to know what we need to do to better ourselves for next year. I'll be to watch my event and do better for the next coming years. And then we'll be able to take this information back and share it with other members who didn't get the opportunity to go. So we're very grateful for these things.
One thing I've learned throughout my 3 years as an FBLA member is that the club has many more opportunities than are initially present. I had to learn through many failures. I participated in several different competitive events throughout the years and didn't have much success until this year when I learned that you have to put in the time and the effort if you want to actually succeed. You can't just go on charm. But what I'm saying is that through my different experiences with these competitive events and my leadership position as president, I've learned what I'm capable of, and really no other activity has helped me as much as FBLA. Our chapter very much appreciates all the help and support that Education has given us throughout the year. Unfortunately, FBLA does not have a lot of big sponsors to help our students with costs, so all money for educational trips and other competitions comes from our pockets, our parents' pockets, or through fundraisers. To attend the state leadership conference, each student has to pay $500, and for the national conference, it'll be over $2,000. Those costs are per student, and the money for the nationals must be raised in fewer than 2 months. The district has been very generous in paying for our cost up front and for allowing us to hold weekly grant fundraisers and staff dress down days. We're asking the district to once again be generous and consider donating a small amount per student or even a flat rate donation for our 7 students who are going to nationals this year to represent Mount Union in a very challenging set of competition. If there's not room for additional donations in this year's budget, we do understand, but ask you then consider setting aside money for the students coming next year, that they might have a more reasonable way to pay for their competitions. I thank you again for allowing us to present to you this evening, and if you have any further questions for our FBLA officer team or our advisor.
Thank you for the presentation. Now we will have a representative from Young Oaks Brown and Company to review the audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2023.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to make some brief comments on the audit report. If anyone has any questions, I'll try to answer. Start off by thanking the board, Dr. Smith, Brown and Compare the Owners Money State. Thanks to Ryan, the remaining staff of the business office. If you have your audit in front of you, I'll just reference pages as I go along. Starting with page number 1. I'm just going to say that in our opinion, we have issued an unmodified or reviewed opinion of the best of the condition. Coming to page 10. The statement of net position is called full accrual and accounting firm that shows all the assets and all the liabilities of the district. Just want to point out that the non-current liabilities for the district consist of the following. There's 2 bonds outstanding. They total almost $19 million. The Peter's retirement, as everyone's aware of, is a little over $23 million. The other post-employment benefit is $2.2 million. There's some leases the district is responsible for, which are approximately $25 million. And compensated absence for sick time of $400,000. Move on page 40 and 41 to give you more detail on this information. I will report that this has decreased $1.8 million from the previous year. Page 14. It's the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance. First column is the general fund. If you look at the third number from the bottom, for the year, the general fund lost $630,000. Fund balance as of 7/1/22 was $2.9 million. As a result of that loss, it's down to $2.2 million. Page 17. It's the statement of revenues, expenses, and change in that position for the cafeteria. Here we'll go to the third number from the bottom, positive for the year, $134,000. This fund had a negative net position at the beginning of the year, $760,000. As a result of the positive change in net position at the end of June 30, 23 is $627,000. Pages 21 through 85, you have a lot of detail on those numbers and other numbers in the statements. I'm not going to cover any of those. I'm going to jump to page 86. For the general fund, a budget to actual. But for the year, the district budgeted for the general fund a loss of $107,000. Actual was the $630,000 I referenced. This gives you detail one here. Revenues were under budget by $2.8 million. And expenditures were under budget by $2.2 million. So the net of those two numbers is the loss. Pages 88 through 92, the schedule of expenditure of federal awards, the federal money the school district receive and spend. Turn to page 92. I'm sorry, 91. This lists all of them. So, Mount Union is considered a low risk audit. Again, I'm not going to get into specifics of what makes them low risk, but you are low risk, so we're required to get you. As we fill out our programs. The ones were required to look at was the Title I and Education Stabilization Funds. They were 1.6 out of $3.1 million of federal expenditure. So we looked at 53% of federal expenditure. Last thing I'm going to reference is page 98. This gives a little summary of the audit. First thing on here, type of auditors reports on modified clean, which is the first thing I referenced. When we test the open internal controls, we find any material weaknesses, no, any significant deficiencies, no, any non-compliance, no. When we did our single audit on those two federal programs, do we have any issues? Any material weaknesses, no, any significant deficiencies, no, any findings, no. And again, I'll reference the quantity is considered low risk, so. All in all, from a financial statement and the single audit, we did not find any issues with the report. What I had to present, I'll open up for any questions I can find in.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to public comment. All presentations will be limited to 5 minutes. You must address an agenda item. Each speaker should state their name, address. Any comments?
I have several questions regarding the budget and additional matters. What is the current status of the $1 million that was withdrawn from the capital reserve in August? There was a resolution to return it to the capital reserve within 1 year. Will this resolution be fulfilled? It seems implausible considering the $1 million deficit we are currently facing. At the moment, our capital reserve is essentially depleted. What if one of the buildings requires significant repairs, such as a new boiler or roof? These types of situations do occur. Furthermore, what is the fiscal plan for the next 5 or 10 years? I believe it is appropriate and necessary to have a fiscal plan for the next several years. Right now, it appears that the current strategy involves approving budgets with multi-million-dollar deficits, followed by underspending by denying supplies for staff. Additionally, there have been continual complaints about the costs associated with charter schools during board meetings. While I agree these costs are unjust, it is important to note that every district in the state faces similar challenges. If we are experiencing a higher than average number of students leaving for charter schools, it indicates an internal problem that the board must address. It is also worth mentioning that we have a higher than average staff turnover rate. We, the public, have been expressing concerns for almost 3 years about the superintendent's inadequate performance, which is a significant contributing factor to the issues we keep facing. The public made their voices heard in the last election, and they expect decisive action, such as reprimanding the superintendent, giving her an unsatisfactory evaluation, or possibly even removing her from her position. If the intention is to simply wait for her contract to expire in 2 years, hoping that she will retire and avoiding any confrontation, then it is clear that you are neglecting your responsibilities as a school board. Thank you.
One thing that I will address, Cheryl, is the $1 million. I understand it is going to be put back. And maybe it's already been moved. I'm not sure. It's Ryan. Has that been moved yet? Okay, but it is going to be moved?
And
Okay,
how does that affect the budget when it's moved then?
Well, with the ESSER redo, that's about half of what the plan is. The PAC projects, which put the salary benefits and the savings to the use of them.
Okay, thank you.
and as far as the long range, do agree with you and sit down and come up with especially a capital budget for improvements and so forth that we don't currently have. So that's something that we need to sit down and take a look at. So thanks for the recommendation. Anyone else?
All right, good evening, Bruce Smith, 314 Dale Road, Mount Union. First, I want to start this off with a few communications from teachers that wish to remain anonymous. First teacher, we've received nothing for the past several years. We submit our requisitions and get nothing, no updates, no items, nothing. When we reach out, we are told it's being handled. We've waited past the point of it being acceptable. Next teacher, our arts department isn't getting supplies. Our music department isn't getting supplies. Our phys ed department isn't getting anything. Teachers are making copies of their textbooks at home because the books are in such poor condition. And of course, there's no copy paper in the office. They're using their own money so their students have materials so they can teach. Teacher 3, we were told there's no money. What is it being spent on? We know the Morrison Trust gives us like $100 grand a year. That money is supposed to go towards supplies, curriculum, technology, etc. We've seen nothing from that for years. Finally, a few other teachers received things from ESSER money, which we were told was a bonus because it cost the school nothing. We haven't gotten anything from our requisition orders. So we're supposed to just make do with what we are given. This is another reason why we are losing teachers. You can't teach if you have no support from the school you work for. Now I'd like to direct you to section 8.3 for the Morrison Trust portion of the proposed budget. You don't have the supporting documentation. I did print it out. In 2022 and 2023, we were allocated $179,589.73 with interest. $64,278.50 of that was spent on instruction. None of it was organized into any of the sections listed, including classroom, books, supplies, etc. This left a net income of $115,311.23. Let's look at the budget from 23 to 24. Through 5/16, $252,546.52 with interest allocated. We spent $55 grand, $790 on books and supplies, $54,210 on a software license, left us with a net income of $197,546.52 net income. We have teachers copying textbooks because our district is too damn cheap to invest money earmarked for our children's education. We have teachers that have waited 2, 3, some even 4 years for items they need to properly educate. And they're left with patchwork while we bank 310 grand for waste elsewhere. After leaving that workshop a week and a half ago, I did think a lot more about why we're losing teachers. The monetary aspect of charters paying 20, which I found out today was 10 to 12. I'm talking to several of the teachers, more per year. It's still significant in my eyes. But in talking to the professionals that we still have, this is a huge reason why others have left. You're not able to do your job when administration blatantly ignores your requests year in and year out and expects you to make do with what you're given. An explanation that ESSER funds were utilized to cover the book expense so this money could be freed up for other areas has been debunked because the teachers haven't received anything. We're told that Acco Brands donated generously to our school again with notebooks and some paper. We're not buying it because teachers are using their own resources to benefit our kids. I've been told we have no paper at multiple schools, which is inexcusable. I was also told today that Shirley Township does have it. Finally, I've done a lot of reading, review, and reflection from the workshop a week and a half ago. Mr. Wagner gave us a presentation on where we currently are. Shows a decline in enrollment from 1449 and 1516 to 1,112 this year. Steady staffing over the past 5 years, while missing the drop in numbers of teachers and the increase in para-educators and other support staff. The numbers weren't provided, but I believe that would paint a much different picture than what we're currently seeing. Many questions were asked, and I hope to get some of those answers this evening. I don't have high hopes. In the discussion of the SRO hire, I would feel cheated as a board member sitting up here today. On a night when that decision was supposed to be discussed in great detail, our superintendent volunteered that she told G-Force not to attend the meeting because Sergeant Inch was on a vacation. She wanted each organization to have equal say at that meeting. Instead of contacting both entities, as you should, and actively inviting a representative from both, you railroaded an active attempt from one and simply didn't contact the other. You got zero information at that meeting that would have been useful in the discussion to make a decision tonight. Finally, Mapleton Elementary. It took 5 years from the decision to close the doors of that school to sell the building that has sat dormant and empty, potentially losing value over that time frame. Mr. Martinez asked, and several attendees, including myself, thought it was a very thoughtful and professional question, if he should remove himself from the discussion because his employer, his current employer, is a potential buyer. Dr. Smith responded that she spoke with his boss and that she told him she wasn't selling it to him. In a sealed bid process, can you decline a bid from a qualified bidder? I find that ethically and legally troubling. But also, no terms have been outlined in this process yet. If Johnny's employer bids $500,000 for the building, probably a bit high, and the next closest bid is $250,000, can you honestly tell me you would decline the bid, especially with our current financial situation? I wasn't the only one that found this troubling. The discussion that was also made at the end of the meeting, which was broadcast on Zoom. Couldn't hear it very well, but there were several board members discussing having a straw vote at the executive session, which is a clear violation of the Sunshine Act, which you should be aware of. Several other members have brought to me over the past few weeks through discussion, and I'm left constantly asking, who is in charge here? I was told by a PTO member that the playground equipment at the Mapleton building is promised to Shirley Township, as long as so-and-so doesn't purchase the building. How is that legal or allowed? Yet it's been said in a meeting with Dr. Smith, as told to me by multiple people in attendance at said meeting, and asking to upgrade playground equipment at Kistler. Dozens of students have had broken bones, major injuries, including my daughter, on the equipment suitable for K through 6, not K through 2, which is what the building is for. Dr. Smith explained that permission needed to be sought from the original Kistler PTO members, whose kids are now seniors or out of school. We need to reach out to them to see if we can fix the playground equipment. Makes sense, right? Once something is built on school property, doesn't the school directly own it and have say with what is done with it? I just can't find any legal grounds to back that one up. In closing, we've discussed this matter over the past few years. We're still facing the same issues. I've called for Dr. Smith's job about 5 times at this point, and I've written a dissertation on what is the best way to improperly manage a public school district. Thank you all for your assistance in learning what a joke this system truly is. And thank you for your time for humoring me and with your attention. And again, your inaction.
Thank you, Bruce. I understand Dr. Smith has some responses to some of your things. It was my understanding that some of the ESSER's money was to be used for supplies. It was my understanding that books that were lacking were going to be purchased. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Smith to see if some of these issues have been resolved.
Well, we've already purchased the math curriculum, the reading curriculum from the ESSER 3 money, ARP ESSER. That was already purchased. We purchased the phys ed equipment. It's here, it's stored everywhere, but they have received their equipment. They have. I have pictures of it in the closets. They have it all. The teachers all have it. Alicia Varner has it for the elementary.
They told me they don't have. it.
Well, obviously not because they haven't. Principals,
Saw the bosses come over, I saw them put it together, I saw it.
There was stuff from the ESSER fund. There was not stuff that was requisition asked for 2 to 3 years ago.
that was,
Fund was the only stuff.
yes, it was the ESSER funds that was received. Yeah. As far as equipment goes, the only time that they didn't receive orders, as far as I know, was last year. They received all their Kurtz orders, which is their general supplies, paper, pencils, all that kind of stuff. They received that last year. They'll receive it again this year. But the requisitions, we held them last year. We didn't have the money to pay for them.
Look, write stuff out. And these are our kids.
So-
not getting education because you're not providing proper amount of stuff for them to get that education.
If somebody really needed something, they came to us and we ordered it.
That's the problem, Amy. Right
Yeah.
now, You're watching this whole thing play out. Our kids are not getting an education because you're holding those requisitions. We have the loan and everything that went through. You said, we're going to use some of this and we're going to take care of this for the ESSER fund. You have $300,000 that you banked out of the Morrison Trust, which is designed for the benefit of our students. They've got nothing. And you can see it in your budget. It's right there.
Okay.
Black and white.
Well, I'll get to that with the Morrison. Okay. I'll start with the copier paper. Every building has copier paper. We ordered 40 cases, 40 cases on a pallet. We ordered 8 pallets this year. The last order was May 2nd. We have ordered copy paper all year. No one has been denied. Surely, I mean, we had 40 Christian, was it 40 boxes from Patton twice?
Yeah. One kid each time. I don't have any boxes. It's on the kid.
And now for the high school, correct? Everyone has requested copy paper this year, has received it. So I don't know where that information came from.
No.
It is inaccurate. It is inaccurate. Here's the purchase orders to prove it. So you can look at those if you want to. The Morrison money, when the grant's given, they take a percentage of that money and they give back the amount that you're speaking of. I have in a letter from 2009 to Jim Estep and a letter to Ryan Wagner just in 2024, April 30th. As we discussed during our meeting in June, we suggested the funds be applied primarily for the benefit of students gifted in the School of Sciences and Engineering. You can only use this money for certain things. And they added technology education to it in the letter they wrote to Ryan. So you can only use the money for the School of Sciences and Engineering, which we do. When we have math textbooks we need to buy, we use this. Science textbooks, we use this. And engineering and technology education. You're not allowed to use this money on supplies and that type of thing. It's only for those areas.
They don't have the proper supplies. They require or requested updated textbooks, updated stuff because the stuff is worn down. And they're told they get the requisition back. Nothing has been done.
Last year, it's the first year we held orders, and there weren't a lot of textbook orders in there.
Did they satisfy them this year?
We're just now doing it for this year. That's when you always do it for next year. You take the orders now, and we are filling them. In fact, I don't know if they turned them into all the principals yet, but we're in the process of that. So, as far as the SRO, SSO, I didn't ask either place to be here. I've only dealt with Justin Inch up to this point. I've never dealt with anyone else except for him. And the same with Steve Junk. I told Justin I wasn't going to have Steve Junk in here with Justin not being here. It wasn't fair. It's not a level playing field. I wish I would have had G-Force here when Keith Himes showed up, but
Should have had Ann Burrow here regardless. Should have reached out to both of them actively. You have all these board members that are there to make a decision on something that is a very important thing in my eyes, and in the eyes of our parents and students. If you say, well, I'm sorry, I know that Justin had a vacation, then you reach out to the borough and say, who's a representative who can talk about this? And you have them at the meeting. The same thing goes for Steve Junkin and G-Force, and I'm sure they would have been here as well. Instead, we were sitting here saying, or asking questions about this situation, and we had no answers because everything had to go through you.
well, we
You
had
didn't have any.
we had a workshop once. They had them both here, everybody here.
And then you should have had everything set up in last week.
And I,
You had.
I sent the contracts out to them. So,
For information, you reach a decision. And you quarterback that.
and I think that was all is that all you asked?
I would just comment, Bruce, as far as I know, whoever bids, the bid will be awarded to the highest bidder. I can't, unless there's some technicality that I have no idea this time, so I would think it would get matter who that is. So. And as far as comment on the straw vote or whatever you heard, I didn't hear it, but there has been no straw vote taken behind closed doors, so I can tell you that.
Where did you? That right back here, listen.
Where, who,
I heard
can
two
you
board
tell us
members.
who you heard it from?
You were one that was,
Who said
you
it?
were one that said it.
No,
I
what?
said,
No,
we need to have,
I
we need to vote on this before the next meeting.
No, I said we need to have a decision before it is not, it's not about voting before it is closed June. I said we need to do it before June. I didn't say about voting, anything about voting. I
heard
said
a
about-
conversation back there, multiple other people in the back of the room are saying.
I said about not voting, I said about making a decision on who would vote for, not voting straws. I didn't say anything about straws.
Well, I didn't say it was called, you were,
That's what you.
explaining what a
you read
straw
it,
vote
said that
is.
was a straw, that was no straws in.
I didn't say you said straw. Straw vote is basically where you
Well,
vote out of.
if you misunderstood, I did not say about voting.
Brian said it.
Brian, you said it during the executive. That's what you heard, right?
No, I heard-
Brian,
I
when
heard
you
the
said to
comments
me,
made up
can
there,
we take
need
a
to have
straw vote?
Decision before, at the meeting before.
It's when you guys were all sitting there talking and Brian that said, can we take a straw vote? You know, I assume that's what you
That
heard.
wasn't what was said last week. I know exactly what I heard last week. It was said, I'm not going any further with it. I was just making that comment abundantly clear.
Yeah,
Okay, let's move
they
forward.
didn't make a straw vote, though. They didn't make one.
Let's move forward. Are there any other comments? Okay. Highlights from the Tuscarora Intermediate Unit 11 meeting of May the 9th were given to the board members for their information only. Could I have a motion for the approval of the subrecipient agreement with the TIU for special education IDEA section 611 grant for the 23-24 school year is presented? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Recommendation from Dr. Diane Thomas for the district to continue with the practical assessment exploration system lab for the 24-25 school year for 3 students twice a week for a total of 6 slots at $2,200, totaling $13,260. Do I hear a motion? Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Gonna abstain.
Okay, sorry, Brian. Approval of the minutes of the April 9th, 2024 meeting at the Huntington County Career and Technology Center. Do I hear a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the insurance rates for medical, dental, and vision for the 24-25 school year. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the life insurance rates for the 24-25 school year from CM Region Solutions, with the understanding the rates remain the same as presented in their proposal approved for the 23-24 school year. Do I hear a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the Morrison Trust Fund proposed budget for the 24-25 school year. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the cafeteria fund proposed budget for the 24-25 school year. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation to grant tentative adoption for the 24-25 proposed final budget with total anticipated expenditures of $26,619,258 and anticipated revenues of $24,654,536. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second?
Jackson.
Roll call, D.
Mr. Gerhard,
Was there any discussion on this?
We can discuss it. Do you have comments, questions?
I have a couple things I wanted to say about it.
Okay,
There's a proposed tax increase on this. Is that correct? With this budget?
that is my understanding.
Okay, from what I read on the tentative budget, the amount that we're going to accrue from the tax increase basically is pretty much all going to be absorbed strictly by the increase in charter school funds. I didn't see the exact figure, but from what I can gather is most of that increase is really going to just not even the regular charter, but the increase in charter. So what really are we doing with an increase like that? I mean, this is just a nominal increase. Are we going to increase or are we not going to increase? Because this really isn't going to affect anything other than just taking extra money from, and this is a poor school district, to be a very poor school district. So basically, we're just going to take extra money away from our taxpayers and bring it in one door, and we're going to take it right out the other door. And I know there's been discussions here about charter schools, and I agree. I'm very much for competition, very much for competition. But this, I think our taxpayers are bearing the brunt of a dysfunctional state government. And I just don't think it's fair. I know we're supposed to be supposedly, and I don't really agree with this, raise taxes on a regular basis. I think if you're prudent with your money, you shouldn't really have to raise taxes on a regular basis. So my point is, I'm really disillusioned about the fact that we simply have to take money out of the taxpayer's pocket and strictly just handle the money. And a lot of this isn't even going to stay right within the students right here within the Mount Union School District. I have been in contact with several of our legislators. They are pledging to me that there is going to be some relief on charter schools for the coming year. I would prefer to hold their feet to that and help these schools. As our concerned citizen has mentioned, this is affecting a lot of schools throughout the state. We are really getting hammered by this. This is a poor school district, or in some respects, very, very rich in others. But monetarily, this is very unfair, I think, to us. And I'm not going to, I think there's other ways that we can go about this to get our budget in line. And I'm going to hold their feet to the fire and say that they're going to give us relief on this, because that $400,000 really, I don't think that's really going to make a big difference, in my opinion, as to the total outcome or resolution of our yearly budget. That's my thoughts.
Your thoughts are not to raise tax?
No,
Well, why'd you motion on the thing? And I seconded. You
because
motioned-
because
That's a good motion. That's good.
because
Okay.
it's just a procedural thing, Carol.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just procedural to bring it forward. Yeah.
So you heard how many people talk about in the last hour that we have no cap reserve. We're borrowing money, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, borrowing from our own funds. And we're gonna continue to say, we're gonna hold the legislators' feet to the fire. Let me tell you something. I've been holding the legislators' feet to the fire for 20 years now as an administrator. Hasn't happened. We need money in this district. And if it means a tax increase, then we need to support a tax increase.
Am I supposed to respond to that?
Absolutely. I'll keep going with you all night.
We'll go all night then. This has to stop. This is not sustainable. It is not fair for taxpayers to have to continually do this. Sooner or later, somebody has got to say no more. This has got to stop. You just can't continually take more money away from people. And then we slough it off by saying, oh, that's just the way it always is. This has to stop.
Well, this is the best year to do it. Your homestead, farmstead tax is gonna give relief to everybody anyway. So not gonna feel that big. So if I were to ask Brian, how much is it out of everybody's pocket for the proposed?
I didn't have last year's number, but the average increase in 50 seconds. Average increase for North Huntington County is $16.81, which makes the average bill, it goes up about $55. And Midland County goes up about $31. That's an average.
That's average on the assess. What's Mifflin County's assessment? Average assessment?
24.
You just heard how many people say that we're not getting supplies for our kids. Our kids are suffering. One of the textbooks last year, we finally found a way to get them this year. And we're gonna hope that the legislators, have some sort of charter school reform. And we're gonna lower the price that we pay for charter schools. And then you said you welcome, competition. That's not competition. It's not even close. They're not held to the standards we're held to. They're not held at all to the standards.
So I'm glad you mentioned that because I totally agree with you. I said, no. I said, I agree with having good competition, but it is not a fair competition. So why does the taxpayer have to pay the brunt for the fact that they're allowing this to happen to us? It is not fair.
Don't vote not to raise it. Then when we're sitting here next May and our kids went through another year of not having materials, not having this, not having that, we lose more to charter schools. Why are we losing to charter schools? Because we don't have anything to keep them here. My daughter, this year's senior class, 61 to 64 kids that started out in kindergarten at 108. Where are they? And we're just not, let them go, just let them slide. Well, I think we need it. You'll have my vote.
You can't fight the state until they decide to do what they want. And in order for us to do what's best for the kids, this is what we have to do. I don't know.
And then the best thing is, if they do come up with charter reform, we bank a little money, then we can put some back in the capital reserve for future
But until
projects.
then, the state is, you can't
It's
fight the
capital
state.
reserve you have to build.
Yeah. You gotta do what you have to do, and I don't hate to do it. I'm a taxpayer. I don't want it, but it has to be done for our children.
And if we're making decisions based on making sure we're reelected in 2 or 4 years, then you're making the wrong decisions. I could care less if I get reelected. As long as I'm here, I'm gonna make the best decisions for the kids. I'm done.
I'm the last one that wants to be forced into charters and utilities, from our utilities are going up. I mean, you can see we're $2 million in the hole before we even adopt this. So we have to raise the taxes. Many people in the area are facing the same thing, and they're all raising taxes. Many of them are talking about cutting programs. So I will vote yes. Anyone else? Roll call, Dee.
Mr. Gerhart,
No.
Mr. Martinez. Mrs. Myers.
Yeah.
Mrs. Shields,
Yeah.
Mr. Weitzel,
Yes.
Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Mrs. Jackson,
Yeah.
Mr. Kreitzer,
Yes.
Mrs. McClure.
Yes.
8 to 1, it carries.
You will continue for the next month until this is approved, until it's actually approved of. We find as many places that we can save money, including personnel.
Yes, and I hope the board's support of it. We have to cut some things. We cut them.
I'm not talking cutting personnel, I'm talking if somebody leaves.
Yeah.
Retires through attrition. We better need to consider if we don't need that position when we're graduating 61.
Anything else? Any other comments? Moving on. Recommendation to change the regular meeting for June 2024 to Monday, June 24th, 2024 at 7 o'clock in order to meet the 30-day guideline for final adoption of the proposed final budget for the 24-25 school year. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion. I wanna discuss it.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah. So I questioned back in January when we changed the meeting from the fourth Monday to the third Monday. I understand you have to have 30 days to have a budget for the community to look at. That should have been considered. So I make my calendar for my own job based on what you requested us to do. And now I can't be available on the 24th. So I'm requesting that by then the technology department comes up to allow with a way that board members can zoom in and vote over Zoom.
Did we vote on this? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Voting by Zoom. Should we make that now?
Can we suspend the policy? Can we suspend the policy during COVID?
Yeah, it's inactive right now.
Yeah.
Can it be put back in place, the same policy?
You don't want to do that?
We don't have a policy in place. We're discussing,
Then
we had one in place during COVID, but it's inactive.
Right now, so that they could vote by Zoom because of COVID restrictions.
you need 6 votes
You
for
wanna,
it. You don't do it. I'm not gonna be here.
You wanna go
Brian's
back
not gonna be here.
Thursday?
So you're down to 8.
Huh?
You wanna change the
You
date
could.
to the Thursday?
you could, I mean,
27.
what
Yeah,
about
the
Thursday?
The week before,
How about the 20th?
not enough days,
That's 30 days. Today's the 20th.
30 days from. When is that? When is that? When is that?
I mean, that-
It was Thursday, so it was the 20th that you
Yeah.
counted till.
I think. We have 28, count back. No, how many days left here in May? Is it 11 days? 1, 11. So the 20th.
Yeah, the
You
20th.
could do yeah, you could even actually do the 19th, but normally in the past, we've always done a Thursday.
I can't. My board meeting. Well, I wasn't here. For
So can you do the
You
20th?
could do the Thursday, the 20th.
everybody else can, you don't have to just accommodate me. The easiest thing is to reactivate that policy. and go. Not even-
Can everyone do the 20th? Twentieth,
So what do we have to do to change
So
that?
we'll have to
date?
rescind the motion we just did. And take another vote on changing it to Thursday, the 20th.
yeah.
I have a motion to rescind the previous motion and change the date of the meeting to Thursday, June the 20th. All in favor? Opposed?
Hoover Martinez.
Same time,
7 o'clock.
7
Regular
o'clock.
meeting would be at 7.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the consent vote agenda items? Number 10.1 to 15.1. Do I hear a motion?
You didn't vote on that. You have to change the date. You changed the date to June 20th and revote. You voted to rescind that. Now you gotta vote to make it June 20th.
I did it all in black.
You do it all, yeah.
I rescinded it and,
Okay,
okay.
okay. You write that up? I think so. Yeah.
Do I have a motion for the consent vote?
No, it's
Take a minute and look over them. Any questions?
Yeah.
Any questions or comments from anyone? Hearing all in favor? Opposed? Recommendation, accept the local audit report for the year ending June 30th, 23 is prepared and presented by Young Oaks Brown and Company. Do I hear a motion?
motion.
Do I hear a second? Any comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion to approve agreement with parents of student ST number 6, 2324 in the district, and to authorize the board president to sign any necessary paperwork. Do I hear a motion? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Recommendation to approve the following list of individuals as tax collectors for the district for the 24-25 school year is presented. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Opposed?
Same.
Now we have to name a PSBA delegate. Johnny, is that you right now?
No, he's the lead liaison for PSBA, but Christy Myers, you did it last year.
Do you want to do it again? No?
Somebody else.
Do you want to do it, Johnny? We'll appoint you.
No.
We have to send a meeting.
Nobody else like it, sure.
Anyone else?
Anybody else is jumping on it.
All right, all right. Approval to appoint Johnny Martinez to serve as the district's 24 PSBA delegate to vote at the association-wide business meeting on Saturday, November the 2nd. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to the SRO, SSO approval. Some new information has been given to us by, I understand, the teachers union. We have not had time to look this over. So, but I have a motion to table this until our meeting in June. All in favor? Opposed? All in favor? Opposed? It's my understanding at the workshop that both sides are going to be invited back in. And June 10th to ask any further questions. There have been some questions that have come up. Plus with the new information that's been given to us. But it will be voted on in June, so.
You making that night a special session? Yeah.
Do I have to vote for that then?
No, they advertise.
We need to advertise for the 10th to be a special meeting. We need to advertise for the 10th to be a special meeting along with the workshop to vote on the SRO.
I requested that, but if you move forward, you do it for me. No, not make that. That wasn't even needed. You know what I mean? Now you move the meeting on the 20th, it doesn't impact.
Okay, well then we don't, as long as we vote on it on the 20th. Okay,
Will be a special session.
You're gonna have them both representatives
They're
here.
gonna be here.
Or-
they're
Yeah,
gonna
the
be
10th.
here and on the 10th.
Okay, so the special session's not needed now. Okay.
I'm confused.
Accept with regret the resignation of Ryan Wagner as Director of Business Affairs, effective with his last day in the district of June the 14th. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? I'd just like to make the comment, Ryan, we hate to see you leave. So you've done a good job while you've been here. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Authorization for the administration to post for applications to fill the position of Director of Business Affairs with the understanding the information will be brought back to the board for final approval and entering into the minutes. Do I hear a motion? Do I hear a second? Will we be included in the interviews of the applicants?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now moving forward. Does anyone have anything else they would like to address to the board at this time? You're given a 3-minute window. Please state your name and address.
Ashley Skopic, 16364 Wrangletown Road, Shirleysburg. first and foremost, I actually came up here to say something positive. With the end of the school year happening and just last week, the elementary kids had their spring and chorus concert. I hope that some of you were able to be there. I just wanted to give a shout out to Gretchen Krause because she is phenomenal with these kids. I have 3 children that have gone through the program with her. My youngest is actually finished with her now as he'll move to 6th grade. But just to reiterate what an asset she is and how much kids love her and what being in music and band and chorus does for them. Give her an extra shout out because she has added to my parenting arsenal. My youngest doesn't always love to go to school. So if I remind him that I'll just have to text Mrs. Krause that he'll miss band the next day, he says, never mind, he'll go. So if that doesn't tell you, how much she means to these kids and just what that program does for them, I don't know what does. So I just wanted to say thank you to her and just give a shout out to her. And just a couple points from tonight's meeting, since I'm already up here. I appreciate the honesty with raising taxes. Obviously, no one wants to do it. I appreciate the points that Kurt made. Because again, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't really want legislators making decisions that directly impact my children because let's face it, big government doesn't have a great track record of doing that for us. And I just want to say that what's most important to my children's education and the daily impact on their lives are the people sitting here. So thank you for the ones making good and conscious decisions for them. Even though I don't love a tax hike, sometimes it's necessary. And I would just urge you to then do with that money what is best for our kids and making sure that they have materials and that they're amazing teachers are taken care of, because at the end of the day, they're some of the most important people in my children's lives outside of our home. So just thank you to all of our teachers who have stuck around through another year and are coming back next year, because I really appreciate them.
Thank you, Ashley. And the concert was phenomenal.
I hope that people saw it.
Anyone else? The Mount Union Area Board of Education will hold the following meetings during June 2024. The workshop, Monday, June the 10th, beginning at, is it still 6:30? 6:30. The special meeting will follow for voting on the SRO. No, it won't. No, forget that. Kurt, you confused me.
The workshop stays in June the 10th.
Yeah,
Regular
just the
meeting will
workshop.
change into Thursday, June the 20th.
Okay, and the regular board meeting will be Thursday, June the 20th, beginning at 7 o'clock. Now we will have our administrator reports.
I just say to the children, I'm not leaving the recording. I just have some things I have to take care of. I apologize for cutting out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Wagner, do you want to begin?
I'd like to add, I'll work on, with Dr. Smith, I'll kind of like, so, where we get to the position, we'll have a little bit. Thank you for the opportunity and this investment.
Thank you. Riley?
I would like to say mine was told that, but it most certainly is not. So FDLA presented tonight, and I think they did a phenomenal job, as you say to myself. I can have much to add to that, but I would like to say that there's so many clubs that I've been involved in and activities throughout my academic career, even before, and there's not a club that has impacted my life like FDLA. Like, there is nothing I love more than going to these now. I haven't been that yet. But going to states and different leadership clubs, it's a phenomenal experience for anyone who has gotten how I truly hope so many people And it's amazing to watch, like there are kids that you do not expect to do as well as they do, and they just go off and do these things, and you're like, wow, how did that, where did that come from? So it's really amazing to watch, not only an officer, but also a group of others, because the guy is choosing so much more than I do. It's amazing. I wish everyone joined FBLA, and I wish it's something that people value more. It's my favorite club, I think, and that takes a lot to say, because there's a lot of competition in that group, but I think it is my favorite, and this year, I love it so much, so I hope that you guys, as a community, understand how much that is impacting you. We have kids, almost every Morrison kid that's graduated has been in FBLA at least once. And that in itself is amazing. We have kids that do so many scholarships through this program. It's amazing. And to have so many kids qualify for nationals, I mean, that's unheard of, really. We are such a small school, and as we have pointed out throughout the whole meeting, we're poor. So to have that many kids go out and do all that, it's phenomenal. We are not a prep school. We are not anything like that, but we do have kids that show out when it's time to have that. So that's fine. I feel like it's a good day. So NHS students went to the Teens Packs where they completed a variety of community service projects to help them get ready for the season. Students stayed on a tour and learned about various animals there, lived there, and they learned some of the history of why they were put into the packs. Members also had their final meeting when they elected officers for the 2024-2025 season. FFA participated in the spring study, which is an activity they do every year. Members of the horticulture class made and pulled various flowers from plants. Their greenhouse is currently open for communities to go in and buy a variety of plants. They also have their annual FFA banquet, which is very successful, to my understanding. Dad wrapped up things for the school year. We've been a little inactive for the past 2 months, which is something we're planning on working on for the next year. So this past week, a member stayed after school and organized their closet, where I know no one has seen it, but let me tell you, it's a lot better now. And so they discussed a few ideas for the upcoming school year and how we can improve on that. Drama Club wrapped things up after their musical. After their musical, they put on sets and wheeled around the areas where they stood their various events. A few students will be staying after school this Thursday to finish cleaning and organizing, which will be officially finished off in the studio. Students have already hit what they are going to be doing for their fall play, which is headed to Complete Department and Lemonade Stand, which is the play that I did in 7th grade. The seniors will then get to do the same play they did in 7th grade. So I encourage all of you to think about that throughout the summer and then come out and join us in the fall. The baseball team continued the regular season and have advanced to the postseason. They will play tomorrow against Ball and Durham. The team is excited and ready to play. The girls also completed their regular season and moved on to the postseason. They're about 2 hours away. They should be on their way home now. It's not that already done. And approximately they did complete the season with the 13 3-loss. Students in the prep program competed in the district unit, and 2 members, including Caleb Strickett and John Cooper, will advance to states for the 300-meter hurdles and distance. Champ has been meeting and is currently preparing for his upcoming meeting. They're working hard on a food truck rally, home run derby, and various other fundraisers. They're excited to start the upcoming year and plan on winning our Champ Cup back. The yearbook staff took all their pictures last week, and members of the yearbook will be working hard throughout the summer to get the yearbooks out at the beginning of the school year. I know at the beginning of this school year, there's a little trouble with when we get our yearbooks. We cannot change that date. Our date is set to get them printed and ready by the beginning of the year. So seniors do have to come back and pick up the prom was last Friday, and it was very successful, my understanding. It was there for long, so I couldn't tell you how it was, but the beginning was fun. The AP Chem students also went on a spring study with the ag. They had to come there, there's 2 of them. And I do feel that I need to touch on the public comment earlier. From a student perspective, I can guarantee you that we are receiving an education. To say that students are not on, it's honestly hard with teachers. We have some amazing teachers that put in hundreds of hours throughout the year in their off time. And they do things that none of you will ever truly know that they do behind the scenes. I'm not saying we haven't gotten all the resources we needed, but I'm saying that they've worked hard for what they do have in order to provide an education. The students that want to learn here are learning, and I can promise you that. Lastly, I would like to thank the board for implementing the student board position. This has been a wonderful opportunity for me. I previously mentioned that I plan on entering the educational field. So to have the opportunity to see firsthand how the system works is something that I will always be grateful for. If I only had tonight's meeting, I would be grateful for that. Whether you open up this position or not for the next school year, Joseph, is up to you. But just know that if you do, I would gladly send you a letter of interest on the first day of it. Thank you once again.
Let's remember to turn your mic on, because I think it might be important as far as the Zoom meeting go. To make sure that the people that are Zoomed in can hear you. So, and anybody that would come up, be it earlier or in future meetings, make sure you turn your mic on up there. That way we're getting everybody to hear. I heard you pretty good.
Thank you, Briley, and it was a privilege to have you as part of the board.
Thank you.
Mrs. Palm?
We've been pretty busy at the junior high. We just wrapped up PSSA testing the week of the 9th. Everything went incredibly smoothly. I'd like to thank every single member of the junior high. Every part of the staff helped out. We utilized every single space to accommodate the small groups that we needed. And so I appreciate that. And also to Mrs. Strata, who helped out with that. Field trips tonight, we wrapped up our final field trip of the year. The 8th graders got back a little while ago. Everything went well with that. Band and chorus concerts, I had that on my agenda to read or to thank Mr. Dixon, Mrs. Peachy, and Mrs. Dashbaugh in our building for all the hard work that they've put in throughout the school year for band and chorus. I know for some students that is what gets them to school, so I appreciate that. Junior high student awards, honor rolls. We had 147 students at the junior high that made honor roll this year. And Thursday, we're going to have an award ceremony to recognize student achievement, citizenship, and kindness. We have an activity day and picnic planned for Wednesday. We have Rita's from Lewistown coming. We're going to have hot dogs and hamburgers and snacks for the kids and a variety of activities. And then move up day, which was May 14th, went really well. So thank you to Mrs. Dashbaugh and Mr. Glasgow for filling in while I was out.
Thank you. Mrs. Strata?
All right, I'm on. Excellent news. Today, Patan notified us that they are allocating $100,000 towards the systematic support goals for our school district. Representatives from Patan, TIU 11, and your Mount Union administrators have been collaborating together for several months to finalize our requests aligned to this system of supports, curriculum materials and interventions like Third Quest, Spring Math, additional trainings and Wilson Reading, and those things are all being funded and paid ahead for by Patan. So that $100,000 is a big help. Keystone testing is underway here at Mount Union Area High School. The biology and algebra Keystone exams have already been packaged and sent back to Data Recognition System Corporation. Christian and I held our final new teacher induction meeting on Thursday, May 16th, and our teachers completed a survey, turned in a variety of paperwork, and received certificates and cookies to celebrate their accomplishments in our induction program. Our administrative team has worked very hard all year to show appreciation and gratitude to all of our MUASD faculty and staff members throughout the year, including cookies, candy, coffee, seed packets, dress down days, etc. And I'm happy to say our PTOs and student organizations, various organizations joined in with teacher appreciation here at the beginning of May to show our staff just how important they are to all of us. On Monday, April 29th and Tuesday, May 9th, Mount Union held our all hazards team meetings. And we're currently working through the list that the state provided, as well as our current list to update everything. We worked in teams by building, and they're working through what we currently have. I intend to compile this data that I've already collected, and then we will begin next year with our meetings reconvening probably September. And finally, I just mentioned that on Wednesday, May 9th, I now have the opportunity to go to the Secondary Literacy Summit in Patan in Harrisburg. So I'm very excited about that. Thank you so much.
Christian?
At the elementaries, the teachers and I are in the process of reviewing new K-5 reading curriculums using the samples that I ordered from different publishers. We're reviewing samples of the updated McGraw-Hill Open Court series. Open Court's the current reading series we have at the elementary. We have one more year of Open Court. We're also reviewing samples of McGraw-Hill's Wonders, Savvis My View, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's Into Reading, Benchmark Advance, and Amplify CKLA. The Savvis My View, that publishing company, Savvis, is currently who we already have math, science, and social studies through at the elementary. We did our end of year Acadience benchmark testing in reading and math at both elementary schools. Later this week, I will be printing off the parent reports to send home with report cards on Friday. As Mrs. Stradiff said, she and I had our final new teacher induction monthly meeting last week with the district's new teachers. One of those teachers is here tonight. Miss Bachman, would you stand up so that Natalie Bachman is a learning support teacher at Kistler Elementary. Thank you.
All right, speaking for Shirley Township, at the end of the week on May the 9th, we finished and submitted all the science. Each week, Mrs. Love and I made sure that we got everything packaged up. That was her favorite part of the week with the PSSA. But I wanted just to shout out to Mrs. Love. She worked just as hard, if not harder than me, trying to make sure everything was perfect for that. So thank you, Mrs. Love. On May 16th, our band and chorus folks did do the spring concert, and I wanted to shout out for those folks and Mrs. Kraus. All of our field trips were completed and very successful. Today was our last trip, and that was at Fort Roberdeau with our 5th graders. We have had a spelling bee. I'm not going to tell you the winners because I do have some parents in here with 5th grade with some of the winners, but we did have a spelling bee winner. We had a Math 24 competition or champion within our building. And then we also went to a math competition, Math 24 competition at Mill Creek, where we competed against other schools, and we took 6 participants, and we took 1 4th grader. Remember, we're grades 3, 4, 5, and only 4th and 5th go. 1 4th grader made it to the semifinals, and 1 5th grader went to the finals. She didn't get first, but second's all right. So she did really well. I wanted to give a big shout out to Shayna Bruner and the students at Shirley Township, and a big thank you to the community and anyone else that participated in the yearly Randall Memorial Walkathon. They raised over $16,000. I thought that was amazing. That was really something to shout out. Tomorrow's our field day. We're doing inflatables, slushies, fun activities, and track and field. And on Thursday, any parent or any board member, anyone that would like to come out and celebrate with us with our 5th graders at 9:30 to 10:30 is Bruner and Williams classes for celebration. 10:30 to 11:30 is Simpson and Cruel celebration. Kristen and I and a group of Seton, oh my gosh, that's an old job. Ooh, where'd that come from? Shirley Township. We're the middle group. So we went to Kistler, and I wanted to thank you for allowing us to come and watch you do ECRI. I have seen ECRI from the school I came from, and I'm a huge fan. But I wanted to say what an incredible job that they're doing at Kistler, because they're doing it right, at least the 2 people we saw. And Mrs. Snare's here tonight, so thank you, Mrs. Snare. It was phenomenal. And then we went to the junior high to see Third Quest. We wanted to see in the middle, like, what should we actually be doing? We needed to pick out materials from Patan to say what fits us best. So we looked at all the angles and that's what we're working on, and we know what we have to order to make us successful. And one more thing, one more shout out to just some fifth grade parents that were very generous, and they purchased on their own just some pizza, but it was most generous to bring in for all the staff on teacher week, teacher appreciation week. So thank you. That's all I have.
Is that all?
That's it. Sorry.
Okay, just making sure. All right, some things since I'm at the end, I gotta try and find some things that weren't mentioned. Our Mount Union baseball team was crowned the ICC champions this year, 2024. They actually shut out both teams that they faced over in Claysburg. So shout out to the baseball team, and they'll be playing their second BIAA state championship run tomorrow. Good luck to them. We also had two representatives going to state track and field this Thursday. Josh Seacrest, did he leave? Okay. All right. He is the man of the people, right? He's number one in their hearts. Number one in their hearts. Okay. So he's going to represent us in discus, and then Caitlin Skopik is going to represent us in hurdles. So on Thursday and Friday, I believe. I don't know which days they'll be competing, but Friday and Saturday. There you go. Used to be Thursday and Friday. Okay. That's the at Shippensburg. Yeah, Shippensburg. So keep them in mind, and hopefully good luck to them. They do well. That $100,000 of Patan is going to go partly to the high school, junior high, to go towards our starting up our PBIS program. We've been working hard all this year with the students and other staff members. The junior high and high school are working together to come up with how this is all going to look and feel. And there's even a video in the process of, so we can start out next year. We've got that under construction, I guess you'd call it. Also went to prom on Friday. There was 136 students that went to prom. We had about 10 chaperones. A big shout out to Yvonne Hoppel and Beth Snyder for putting that together. And a big shout out to our students because it went off without a hitch. So it was well attended. They all had a good time. I couldn't be happier that we didn't have any problems. So we also as Kristen said, we have Keystone testing. We only have one more tomorrow, and I will be the happiest man on earth we get through that, because Keystone testing as a principal is unnerving, to say the least. But anyway, we're getting through it, and I think the students are doing a great job, and our faculty is doing a great job of getting them through that. We're all focused on graduation now at the high school office. All of our seniors are set to graduate. If anybody has any questions about that, they can come see me. And in the past couple of weeks, I've attended both the FBLA and FFA banquets. So I've packed on a few more pounds here. So all those turkey meals. So I think I got another one tomorrow night, senior banquets tomorrow night. So I believe you all are aware of that. If you haven't put in your reservation, then let Mrs. Hoppel know. Individual? No. You can come along. I'll share some of my meal. We'll be here tomorrow night. Yeah, I think they should have too. So that's all I have. Is there any questions?
Sorry, I guess we're due. We are.
I'm done.
It's on.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Nikki Downes, a teacher at Kistler Elementary. I am up here because I wanted, Mrs. Yoakum is not here, to say what an outstanding PBIS team we have. We had a splash day, thanks to Sassy Snare here.
And Mariah Hutchinson.
And Mariah Hutchison, that it was all volunteer. The kids could pay to dump a bucket of water on us, or a cup of water. The teachers volunteered who wanted to do this. they raised $1,300 for the PBIS. Did not cost the school district anything, and all that money is going back towards the PBIS reward system. So I just wanted to make that known. Mrs. Yocum sat there the entire 40 buckets. She sat there the entire time while rest of us did rotations. So she was definitely soaked and enjoyed every minute of it. So I just wanted to say that about.
Anyone else have anything to say? Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. I already talked tonight, but I wanted to thank Briley Benson for being our student board representative. You did an excellent job. So, and, unfortunately, I missed the elementary concert. I heard it was very good. I had the CTC graduation the same night, so I couldn't attend. But I'll hit it again next year. And a question that was asked of me at a previous meeting, how many, and I think Bruce, you asked, how many emergency permits we have? We have 21 teachers on emergency certification, but 6 of those are certified teachers. It's just in a different area than what they're teaching. So there's 15 of them that have bachelor's degrees or master's degrees. They're just not certified in teaching. And that includes who we hired tonight.
The number of teachers versus staff. 118 teachers? I'd say that, no, I didn't have that. 41 full-time paraprofessionals, 45 full-time support staff, 12 administrators, and 18 part-time support staff. How many administrators? 12. What was the last one? 18 part-time support staff.
All right, could I have a motion to adjourn at 8:42 PM? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thanks, Brian. Thank you.